Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Katie Moore.
And I'm Sharice Gibson. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of the WWL Louisiana News at 4.
It was another chilly day around southeast Louisiana, but we did have a lot of sunshine, and that snow is finally starting to melt.
Yeah, this is the first time that I felt safe driving anywhere on the roadways, but temperatures do expect to drop again below freezing overnight. So how far will they fall? Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin joining us now with more details. Chris, we saw a lot of water on the roadways because of that melting snow. So will we see some more ice tonight as well?
Yes, there will be some refreezing on some roadways. Elevated roads, certainly both sides of the lake could see some, if not even refreeze, but just kind of stick. But north of the lake and areas west is where we could likely see more of the refreezing as temperatures dip into the mid-upper 20s. Metro area will be another freeze, but a light freeze. Looking at visible satellite, we were showing you this yesterday of the snow pack on the ground, and it is still very much present across south and southeast Louisiana. Not as dense on the North Shore. We saw quite a bit more melting, and snow accumulations north of the lake weren't as heavy as they were south. Still widespread snowpack in the metro area and elsewhere in the South Shore, Baton Rouge, and out over Lafayette. Now, because of a little bit more snow melt and we didn't have as much snowpack, temperatures were able to get into the 50s on the North Shore. We stayed in the 40s south of the lake, and lake water temperatures have actually kept the lake front much cooler than any of the surrounding areas. So we're in the mid and upper 40s and then 50s. So we did see quite a bit more improvement north of the lake, but we are anticipating another hard freeze north of the lake. Lots of sunshine did help us out. Daytime heating helped us out as well. But I know just for myself, driving from home into the studios in the French Quarter, there are still a number of areas where there was a lot of clearing, but patchy areas of ice still, mainly in areas of shade, and elsewhere roads that have not yet been touched. I know I saw a number of overpasses and on-ramps still covered in snow. We will stay under mostly clear skies tonight, which will allow our temperatures to drop. So we are anticipating another cold one, but not as cold in the metro area. So folks asking about running water again, south of the lake metro area, we're okay. It's going to be a light freeze, but north and areas west might want to still run that thin stream of water. Conditions will be improving, but not until after the start of the weekend, because Saturday morning we are anticipating another hard freeze north and west and a light freeze south. But the good news is by Sunday morning we will not have any freezes, and temperatures on Sunday getting into the 60s. It's almost as if the snow never happened. We will see a warming trend that will continue into next week. More on that in a few minutes.
We have a lot to get to. That roller coaster ride continues. Thank you, Chris. After 2 days of cancellations, flights finally began taking off and landing here in New Orleans.
Eleanor Jabone was there and joins us now with more details. Eleanor, a lot of people were upset because they missed flights in the last 2 days.
That is right, Katie and Sharice. Before I get to the details of what's happening over at MSY, I want to show you what's happening right now on I-10. I'm going to step out the way so we can show you. Now, we've got some machinery here from DOTD that is clearing the interstate now. You can see how much snow, like Chris was saying, remains on the interstate. Now, here in Louisiana, we obviously know that we don't get the amount of snow that we saw on Tuesday, so we don't have the infrastructure and the machinery like snow plows to clear the roadway. So we're using these construction materials here, this bobcat here, you can see it circling as it picks up the snow off the interstate and it's shoveling it onto the side. Now, when I spoke to DOTD yesterday, they mentioned that we're hoping to get our roads up and running by tomorrow, but you can just see how much snow remains. Like Chris was saying, we're hoping to eventually see some of this melting, but there's just so much remaining. But like you ladies were saying, over at MSY, when all these flights were cancelled because of this heavy snowfall. Now, some of those flights started continuing today, this afternoon, but we spoke to some of those travelers that have just been sitting in their hotel rooms waiting to get home. But MSY officials say that they're back up and running. Take a listen.
There was some snow accumulation on the runways and on the airport access roadways for the public. And fortunately, we were able to work with the city of New Orleans to get a team of snowplow operators out to the airport to clear our roadways and to clear the airfield yesterday. By yesterday at about 7 p.m., the airfield was clear and available for flights. So now it's just a matter of the airlines getting their getting their staff online, getting their equipment into New Orleans so that they can operate flights.
Katie and Sharice, for anyone that has had a flight cancelled and you're waiting for the next flight, the advice is to check directly with your airline and make sure you get that confirmation code that your flight is going ahead. Don't just show up to the airport and expect your flight to go ahead because it may have been cancelled, rescheduled or delayed. But I'll continue to keep you updated on what's happening out here on I-10. Remember, the interstate remains closed. If you're trying to get on it, it's all barricaded. You might see law enforcement or DOTD blocking that interstate, and this is why, like I showed you earlier, the amount of snow that still remains on the interstate. I'm right here on I-10 at the Carrollton Avenue on-ramp. And like you can see, all this snow, Katie and Sharice, still is accumulated here on I-10. Reporting live, Eleanor Tabone, WWL, Louisiana.
You know, Sharice and I have both lived in places where there is significant snowfall regularly, and that is a highly unusual sight to see snow being removed from interstates that way. It's interesting if we can just, stay on that shot for a second, Eleanor, because, you know, normally the plows, and I understand they don't have the equipment and didn't have the equipment, but normally plows would have been coming through, and so that layer of ice that's underneath all of that snow would already be gone.
Right.
But it's just, you know, as a factor of the fact that we don't have that equipment here and we weren't prepared for something like this because it never happens.
I think this is the first time where we've had something happen, which I'm really shocked still at the amount of, or lack of the amount of accidents or people that are driving on the roadways and whatnot. I'm seeing more people today, but the people who are not driving on the roadways because really they don't know how to deal with this situation. I do still see some people that are dealing with ice, and what I did see today, what I'm concerned about is the places that were even clear today because of the sun directly hitting the street. You saw puddles of water, large puddles of water. That water's not going anywhere, and the temperatures aren't necessarily rising. They're not dropping below freezing, but they're not rising anywhere yet. So that's what really concerns me, and that's when Katie talks about moving the snow out the way, but still you see that layer right there. It looks like they're clearing it, but that's also probably a later layer of ice that's over that. Yeah,
it's just highly unusual to have to do it that way, using regular construction equipment to actually like shovel the snow basically in large part with those backhoes. That's crazy. But I guess it's just how Louisiana's going to deal with the snowfall.
Use what you got.
Yeah.